Annyeonghaseyo! Welcome to Afternoona Delight, where Leah, Megan, and Amy, romance novelists and your K-romance guides. So grab some dekboki and listen to your new favorite unnies.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hi there.
Oh.
We're like, what are we going to talk about? And then nobody has anything.
Well, sometimes before we start recording, we talk. And so I feel like that's when it's like, this is when it's inorganic a little bit. Maybe I should not be pulling back the veil so much, but I just downloaded at them for 15 minutes. So it's kind of funny to be like, oh, well, hello, fancy seeing you.
Right. Like, what's new?
It's okay. I was talking about work. None of you need to hear that because we are not here to talk about our work days. We are not here to talk about the mundane. We are here to be in the elevated space that is our passion projects of watching Korean dramas.
Which is truly my happy place.
And had gum surgery and did not watch Korean dramas this weekend. What did you watch this weekend, Amy?
Yeah. So here's the thing. And I've talked about it before on here. I have a condition that has required me to have gum grafting surgery 3 times now, and I have to do it one more time because it's all in different spots in my mouth. And they won't do more than one spot at a time.
Right.
And it's pretty miserable the first couple of days. And the day that I got it done, which was last Thursday, I go in early for a pre-sedate, which is like a happy pill. I don't know what it is that they give me. They give me this tiny pill and I just take it, and then I go sit in the waiting room until I get loopy, and then they walk me back and they do the procedure.
It could be acid. Who knows?
I don't know. It's weird because I remember much of the procedure, but I just am laying there chilling, listening to the surgeon and his assistant talk.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I join the conversation. I don't really know. My dad takes me, and then, he took me home, and then I just zone out, fall asleep on and off all day. So I watched the show Shrinking on Apple TV Plus. It's in its 2nd season. It's with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford, and it's really good. And season 2 just dropped, and I slept through 4 episodes. So I don't know what happened there. So then I was like, all right, I just need to chill for the rest of the weekend. And I binged the 4th season of Emily in Paris.
Aww.
Which is some good candy television. I like it a lot. Very campy, makes me want to go live in Europe. And it was fun. But I really want to start, I don't even remember what it's called. What's the sex toy one? That's what I want to watch.
Yes, A Virtuous Business.
Thank you, A Virtuous Business. This is how I've been all week. I feel like I've just been in kind of a haze.
Right.
When your body's healing and you're just extra tired and you're extra out of it. And I've been extra out of it. I was late picking my son up from school on Monday because I worked from home on Monday, and I was working on something for work, and all of a sudden I looked at my watch, and I was supposed to pick him up in 4 minutes, and we live 10 minutes away. It's not a big deal, but I'm usually right there in the pickup line. So I text him, I'm I'm so sorry, dude. And then he comes home and he tells me that he didn't really eat much of his lunch because it had gotten room temperature because I make him these chicken and rice bowls, and I forgot to put the cooler pack in. And you're not supposed to eat cooked rice that goes back to room temperature because of bacteria and whatever. And so I'm oh my God, I'm totally failing as a parent.
No.
As I try and just recuperate. So yeah. So I'm getting back into the swing of things, but it was really weird, doing what we did for the pod tonight, writing our SOSs. That was the most engaged my brain has been in a week. So it was fun.
I understand the feeling when you're just something happens and you're out of it, and your body. I think, and the older we get, the longer.
I know. And I see, you can't really see, which is good. It's this is the side, and it's still swollen, but it bruises too. So it looks like I got punched in the face, basically.
Actually, now that you mention it, I can see it's a little swollen.
Yeah. It's gone down. I drove to freaking Milwaukee on Friday, the day after, to see my daughter in an a cappella performance because I missed her first one. Because I was at a writing event, and as soon as she saw me, she was like, whoa. I'm I know. I did this for you, honey. I love you.
Yeah. Well, I don't have the excuse of gum surgery, but I did. And Neil came home from work the other day, And he looked at me and he's like, your shirt's inside out. And I looked at it and I was like, I guess I walked around Sam's Club today with the shirt just inside out. It's like that. I don't know.
You can't change it. It happened.
I was like, I thought it looked extra faded today. Oh, God. Anyway, I did start a virtuous business.
Me too.
Oh, did you? Okay. Are you caught up? It's okay if you're not. I'm
like one out.
Okay.
How many episodes are there?
Well, there's only 4 out.
Okay.
So it's like currently airing on Netflix, by the way, if you're listening. As we're recording, there's only 4 episodes out. And I actually did just watch the last one today. And I'm really, really enjoying it. There is so much that I relate to as a romance author. I mean, obviously, so the drama takes place in, I think, 1982 or 92. 92.
I think it's the 80s. No, it's the 90s.
Oh, it's the early 90s.
Early
Okay.
90s. I think it's 92. And so, we all know Korea is fairly conservative now. In the 90s, it was even more so. And the main character is down and out looking to make money. And she takes the opportunity to sell lingerie and sex toys.
It's so funny.
It's very funny.
Wait. I can't wait.
But it's like funny. Like, here's the thing is that it's like the kind of humor I like best where it's funny and there's elements that are like broad and slapstick, yet like there's like a pathos. Like, again, sometimes I feel like I'm being like too like snooty because I'm like the least snooty, but like there's like a real depth to it, right? Like, I feel like even as we're laughing and it's funny and like they're like grabbing vibrators that are like flopping around. Like, I mean, like, honestly, those vibrators look like they would hurt somebody.
The one vibrator looks very violent. I agree. Yeah.
It's like you're also having this thing of like, it's funny, but then you've got this like it's a little bit like the Huns of like, multi-level marketing or something. Like they're trying to like, these women are desperate to make money given the circumstances that they're living in and like traditional roles they've been forced into. And you also have like, a lack of like empowerment and sexuality and like kind of like owning that. So like it's funny and yet there's like pretty serious stuff at play as well.
Yeah. And there's a single mom. That's not a spoiler. One of the like kind of crew is a single mom, which is kind of cool. At one point, there's like 2 little boys in the drama, and the boy with the single mom was like kind of holds up his little fist, and he's like, "I'm just letting you know that my mom is a single mom, and if you look down on her, I will hit you." And the other little boy just looks at him and goes, "What's a single mom?" And the first boy's just like, "Okay, fine, you can stay." Like,
What I like too is like it's a really good mix of like single parent, kind of like like bad marriage kind of thing, maybe like colder unhappy marriage, and then there's just like very happy marriage, like maybe not like economically thriving, but like a very happy marriage where like they're fucking getting it down all the time, but like popping out kids, they just don't have like a lot of money. And so I like that there's like a real mix of relationships shown as well.
Absolutely. And
so good ensemble.
It's a great ensemble. And you know me, it's hard to get me on something where they're like not wearing modern clothes. Like that's always a hard sell.
Really?
Yeah, always. Oh my God. And
so no school uniforms and
no school uniforms. I just want
and no
in
80s and 90s
sweaters.
clothes.
I just want people in contemporary clothes. The blazers in this, like the power women 90s blazers I love it. I do. But it's just, there's a real heart to it.
Oh, I like when they pull out the lingerie though. There's a point where like people are looking at the lingerie and somebody's wearing something as a necklace and they're like, "No, dude, that is like
that's not where that goes."
Like that is an underwear, like, it's basically like a string. But they're like, "Oh, this is a cute little necklace."
Yeah. So the main lead is the actress is So-yeon Kim, and Amy, she is the woman, like kind of like the main lead in Tale of the Nine-Tailed 1938. She's she's like that one that has a major crush on Lee Dong-wook or Lee Yun. Yeah. Unrecognizable. And like, I did not put it together that she was the same actress in any way. Because in this one, she's like much more shy. She is also conservative. Like she has her own journey as well. I think that she is going to take. And so it's like really cool to see her in these two like vastly different roles. And yeah, I'm really loving it. I hope people get on board with it because I think there's going to be a lot of depth there and a lot of things to talk about for us. Like it just as I'm watching this, I'm like, I feel so many parallels as a romance author, especially in relation to how people react to what you do. Like how other people react to like what we do. If we say we're romance authors or we write books that are for adults. So you always get like a mixed bag of reactions.
So here's a question I have because I've pondered this and I don't need everyone to think I'm like the most fascinating person. Like you're allowed to just not care and live your life. However, I am constantly amazed at like, because I've started to make it a practice to like not super hide like I've never like hidden, but like at work I would kind of just like avoid talking about it. I made a point of like sharing more, like that I like write books. This is what I do. I write romance novels. The lack of questions I get is astounding.
Really?
Astounding.
I feel like people want to know. I get
and
a lot
they
of
just
questions.
like shrug and like, oh, okay.
Yes. Like yesterday, for example, I met with a partner and I was like, I write romance novels. Like it was like a partner at university. And they were like, I'm really glad you still work here because when I Googled your name, because like we're a big university, right? So they didn't go through staff directory. They just like looked me up online and they looked me up under my real name because I use a pen name. And under my real name, I've written some books as well. And so they were like, I saw you wrote books and then I saw you still worked here and I was glad because I wanted to reach out for this like reason whatsoever. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, I do write books. I'm like, I actually write a lot more under my pen name because I write romance. And they were like, oh, okay. And they kept going. And I was like, it's not that I need like somebody to be like, oh my gosh, tell me more. And I'll be like, well. But I'm just
that's
like,
the interesting thing.
Over and over, I'll like drop this. And like, it's like, okay. And I'm like, I would be like, pause.
Yeah. See, that's the way I would be. And I have to be honest, the response I get from people, sometimes I actually don't want to say what I do because then every further conversation I have with that person is tainted.
Really?
Then that's all they'll bring up.
I just don't, people know.
Oh yeah. They'll bring it up all the time. Like, so I went over to my brother's and I met one of his friends. Okay. And he heard I was a writer. He had all these questions. And this is like a man in his 40s. Okay. Married man with kids. And he bought one of my books. And I thought like when we were there, but he had been drinking a few beers. So I was like, oh, when he gets this in the mail, he's going to be like, what the fuck did I do when I was drinking? No, he proceeds to bring it up to my brother numerous times. And then we were at a large professional soccer game. I didn't even know he was going to like be there. He comes like at me from like a mile away and was like, oh, it's the romance writer. And then he like yelled to like someone, he yelled it to a security guard on the way in. He wasn't drinking this time, but I was like, what is happening? Like, I don't know. I feel like then people are constantly bringing it up.
Too much. Like
that's too much.
I feel like those are two like really big extremes. Like to take zero interest, I think is odd. And then like, it's like you find out somebody's a doctor. Like every time you see them, you're like, it's the doctor.
Oh yes. That is the response I get a lot from like my brother's friends or even like, oh my God, even like, my kids, like their sports teams, the other parents will bring it up all the time. It
depends. I feel like it depends on the person. Like every time I FaceTime with my daughter because that's how you talk to your kids now when they're at college. I FaceTime with her and, she'll answer the call and, she'll look over at her roommate. She's like, it's my mom. And I know her roommate and her roommate's always like best-selling author AJ Pine.
Yeah.
And that's cute because it's like a joke, right?
It is, yeah.
Like that's fine. But the sort of crossroads of like not acknowledging it or only acknowledging it, I think are both weird.
It is weird. I also think how the over the top reactions to what I do are weird. Or then I feel like constantly we'll be doing something normal. Like I'll be again with like sports parents. We'll just be like watching a game and someone will say a word and then they'll go, oh, Megan, put that in your next book. I get that. You don't understand.
I don't get anything.
Oh my God, all the time. Megan, put that in your next book. If I had $1 for every time someone said that to me, I wouldn't have to work. Like that is, I swear to God, I get it all the time. I wonder too if it's because like that's sort of all I do. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, like some of it is I may not invite. I mean, maybe I'm just like not inviting much. But I just find like, and I mean, like, I get it. I'm at work. I can see if people are like, like, I don't know.
It's possible too, you're better at setting boundaries. I think I see all the, like, maybe it's because you're in a work setting. Like I see these people in a personal setting in a way. And so then they think it's okay to like be overly effusive.
Yeah, I think I'd still ask questions, but it's interesting. And then something really cute that happened today was my dad texted me and was like, I went to Meijer today. Like, you know, Meijer, do you guys have Meijer?
Yeah,
Meijer,
no.
Call it Meijers. He's like, I went to Meijer's and oh my God,
there is no S in it though, just so you know.
I know, but we say Meijers. If you're in Southeast Michigan, you're saying Meijers. So they were at Meijer's and he was like, I'm here right now. And there are 5 other hockey books that are copying you. He's like, that's whack, but I guess imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. And I had to be like, Dad,
oh,
I love this. I love this. Thank you for defending me.
Right.
I cashed in so hard on the hockey romance. Like I was, I'm kidding. But I was like, I definitely was not the trendsetter of this genre. Like I am not the leading light. I'm like, I am very much a part of what is one of the most popular subgenres of romance. But I think for them, they're like, we've never heard of hockey romance. This is random. And now they're like, all these people are doing what my daughter does. They're all copying her. I was like, hard no.
That is so cute.
It's
I
very
love that.
cute. I like it.
Thank you for defending my honor.
Oh, I love that.
So I think it's funny that talking about us being writers and how people react to it. And what have we done for today's show, whatever time it is that you're listening to it? We've written some romances for you all, or the starts of some romances for you all, because we have not done this in a long time.
Yeah, it's our second
lead
SOS. And it's been a long time. And we know you guys like it because you tell us you do.
If you haven't listened to one of our second lead SOSs, just to give a little background on what it is that we're doing tonight, is we have each taken, I'm going to guess, a different second lead from a drama, I hope, who did not get the romance. And we have written them the romance that we think that they deserve. And so it's just a little fun creative writing exercise. And also maybe some wish fulfillment and putting it out into the universe of a drama that we'd like to see.
So who wants to go first? Amy, I want to know who you did. I don't think I remember.
I'll go first if you want.
Yeah. Why don't you go first?
I'm not going to tell you who it is, though. You're going to have to just listen and find out.
Okay. Yeah, because we don't, just so you know, normally...
Will I know too?
No.
Well, then what a fun game this is.
Because normally when we write scripts, obviously we all have the script. But when we do second lead SOS, we kind of just do our own thing or write it wherever we want to write it. So yeah, I don't know what either of you are doing. So, all right, Amy, take it away.
I am going to bring up a literary device, though, which is the favorite literary device that both of you cannot say.
Deus Machina?
Deus Ex Machina.
Sisyphus?
Sisyphus. I will always laugh at Sisyphus. So I guess I'm first. Okay. So we've talked on more than one occasion about the idea of the Deus Ex Machina, or a sudden intervener or intervention in a story to save the day. Or if we're going to go with a more technical definition, as listed on Britannica.com, a person or thing that appears or is introduced into a situation suddenly and unexpectedly and provides an artificial or contrived solution to a seemingly unsolvable problem. Think Dorothy throwing the bucket of water on the scarecrow to put out the fire, only to learn that water was all she needed to vanquish the Wicked Witch of the West. Screen Rant has a list of Deus Ex Machina examples in other movies, and I really like this one from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which is the second one. Harry Potter is full of magical Deus Ex Machinas that are suddenly introduced exactly when they are needed for the plot, but none are more glaring than at the end of Chamber of Secrets. When all looks to be over for Harry and Ginny, Fawkes the Phoenix flies down into the chamber and gives Harry the sorting hat with the sword of Gryffindor, allowing him to kill the basilisk, cries on him so that he doesn't die because the phoenix's tears cures him from the basilisk poison, and then flies them out of the chamber so they aren't stuck down there. Big time Deus Ex Machina. Why the hell am I bringing this up? Because my second male lead for today is himself a Deus Ex Machina. You still haven't guessed it, Megan?
No.
I won't completely spoil how he does this other than letting you know that he is the convenient intervener in one of my favorite dramas, which is Lovely Runner.
Oh, I have no idea.
Now I'm like,
That's
I'm
right,
losing
folks.
it.
I'm talking about Kim Tae-sung,
Wait, I'm
played
looking
by
this up.
Song Gun-hee. Now do you know where I'm going?
No. I feel like my brain.
Your memory of this drama? Well, because I'm not going to tell you.
Oh my God. Tae-sung.
Yes.
Oh my God. I'm
Tae-sung.
so happy. You're right. He is the definition. Oh my God. I'm so mad I didn't, because we talked about this when we did the Lovely Runner.
Yes.
pod.
So, and I'm gonna give a little context so that like Leah's not like sitting here bored out of her skull.
No, it's great. It's great. It's great. Oh,
So-
he's great.
Yes. If you have not yet watched Lovely Runner, let me fill you in enough to come along for the Kim Tae-sung SOS. Lovely Runner is a time travel drama that follows our heroine, Im Sol, played by Kim Hae-yoon, as she travels back in time to save the life of her favorite idol, Ryu Sunjae, my new bae and yours, Byung-woo-suk. In present day, Im Sol loves Sunjae, even though it's from a distance. But when she inadvertently travels back in time to high school, where she is her 30-something self in her 19-year-old body, she is reintroduced to her then crush, Kim Tae-sung. Only this time around, she realizes he's a cheesy, self-absorbed player who takes absolutely nothing seriously. He can't get enough of the new Im Sol, who seems so much more brazen and confident, but in her eyes, he's a slacker who only gets in the way. However, throughout her time travels in her new presence, confused yet? I am too. They develop a real friendship, unlike any relationship they had in her original timeline. And because of this new friendship, Kim Tae-sung changes for the better. I can just hear the two of them singing the wicked duet for good. And even though he loses the girl in the romantic sense, Kim Tae-sung is there for Im Sol when she needs him most. And we know at the end of the drama that they are both better off for having known each other. Okay? I didn't spoil it, right?
No, you didn't. But he
does a good job.
How do you say it again?
Deus Ex Machina?
Deus Ex Machina. He
is
is
the Deus Ex Machina, but like, it works.
Mhm.
It works. That's all I'm saying.
It's also just, he's a great character. I'm so glad I can't wait to hear this.
So I want Kim Tae-sung to have more than just good character growth. I want him to have a happily ever after, and I'm here to bring it to him, or at least the start of it to him. So at the end of Lovely Runner, Kim Tae-sung has followed in his father's footsteps and has become a cop, and a very good one at that. And it's here that his romance begins, and really just begins. I don't have a whole story here because time. Okay. I would like to, though. Like, I have an idea for it now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Detective Kim Tae-sung always gets his perp. And I'm saying perp cheekily here, but also like they always use the word perpetrator in K-dramas, like in the translation. So we're using the word perp. In fact, there's a running contest between him and his colleagues for most solved cases, and Kim Tae-sung is always at least one case ahead of everyone else. At least he was until his last arrest got thrown out and the perp was set free. So when he's assigned the task of bringing in Choi Ji-woo, the secretary for notorious mobster Shin Joon, and you guessed it, the only perpetrator Tae-sung has been unable to keep behind bars, he jumps at the chance. It's not like they don't have a rap sheet on her longer than Santa's naughty list. Plus, he has a dangling carrot. They'll give Ji-woo a lenient sentence for spilling the tea on her boss and writing the stats of most arrests back into Kim Tae-sung's favor. When Choi Ji-woo was a little girl, if you asked her what she wanted to be when she grew up, she'd have said makeup artist and hair designer. Maybe even a special effects makeup artist for movies and TV. Not a chaebol or an heiress, and certainly not the keeper of secrets for Seoul's most wanted and most evasive criminal. Heck, she even got into Seoul National University's College of Aesthetics, where everything was going great until she answered an ad for a personal stylist for one Shin Joon. How was she supposed to know who her new boss was? And by the time she figured it out, she was too late. In too deep. The only way out was her ending up 6 feet underground, which was why Ji-woo was going to fake her own death tonight. All Ji-woo has to do is be seen in the VIP section of Shin Joon's favorite club getting way too drunk, stumbling to her car, and her car ending up in the Han River the next morning. Everything is going swimmingly until she pretend drunkenly stumbles out of the club's bathroom with her makeup and her hair purposely askew, only to feel cold metal tighten and cut into her wrist. A handcuff. Kim Tae-sung is a genius. For real, this is way too easy. Except before he can cuff Ji-woo's other wrist, she headbutts him in the nose and knees him in the balls and tries to run. In the midst of blinding pain between his eyes and his legs, Tae-sung quickly cuffs the only other hand he can reach, his own. His mark only realizes this when she's violently yanked back mid-flee, where she falls on top of Tae-sung, who is now sprawled on his back. Ji-woo should be furious, but even with the slow trickle of blood seeping from his nose and his face contorted in anguish, she did knee him hard, didn't she? She can't help noticing that her assailant is ridiculously handsome. But oh shit, this is no random cop trying to bust a woman for public drunkenness. This is Kim Tae-sung, the detective who's been trying to put Shin-joon away since the day she walked into the mobster's employ. When she hears someone approaching from behind, Ji-woo does the only thing she can think of to possibly keep her plan in motion. She scoops hers and Kim Tae-sung's cuffed hands beneath his head and tells him to kiss her if he doesn't want them both to actually end up at the bottom of the river that night. Tae-sung is still reeling from everything that's just happened, but when he hears a gruff voice over Ji-woo's shoulder ask if she's all right, he follows her response, an exaggerated flirty giggle, by using his free hand to gently pull her face toward his and kiss her like both their lives depend on it, because they do. Once they convince Shin-joon's goon that they're just having some drunken fun and they are once again alone, Ji-woo jerks away from him and they both clumsily climb to their feet. Now we're going to have a little bit of dialogue to close this out. Okay, you've had your fun, Tae-sung tells her, but you're under arrest. Should I read you your rights and then get you properly cuffed, or would you like me to do it the other way around? Either way, I'm taking you in. Ji-woo laughs. I don't think so, detective. And then she points a gun at him. His gun. Shit. Chains of plans, Ji-woo continues. You're going to come in very handy for what I have planned tonight. So here's how it's going to go. Once you confirm that I'm dead, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Assaulting an officer and threatening with a deadly weapon? You just lost your leniency, Choi Ji-woo, Tae-sung replies. But their witty parley is interrupted by shouts coming their way. It's him, boss, Detective Kim Tae-sung. Ji-woo grabs the hand that is cuffed to hers. Have you ever seen The Terminator, she asks him. Why, Tae-sung replies. Ji-woo groans. Come with me if you want to live, detective. And then they run.
I love it. So he's going to have to help her fake her death, basically. And then she'll
outrun the baddies who now know that they're together. Yeah.
Love the outrunning the baddies.
It is an action bromance. I kind of, I took inspiration from Midnight Runners, which takes inspiration from the American movie Midnight Run, which is from the 80s. And the 80s one is about a bounty hunter who is cuffed to his mark, for, I think, 24 hours and trying to get him back, to where he gets his bounty, and they strike up a bromance along the way. It's a good movie. Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. Highly recommend. So yeah, that's my inspiration.
There's also Ken Porsche, where they're handcuffed together, and they do more than strike up a bromance.
I do love a handcuff together.
Love a handcuff together. It's always going to be good. I like that. You did Tae-sung proud. And I love that he is like that seems like the type of woman he would fall for. So he needs action.
Yeah. So yeah, an action romance. I was having so much fun. All of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, I'm 3 pages in. I would like to write this story, or, K-drama gods, please just turn this into a K-drama. It would be fun.
Yeah. All right, Leah, I want to know who you have. I don't know. All right. I will do my log line and see if you can get. Okay. Because you're not going to guess. So I've got a log line, and then I'll do my little treatment that I wrote up. So I am calling this drama Death's Assistant. So when Death's most efficient Grim Reaper is forced to accept a dead Chaebol heir as her new assistant, her 800-year perfect record begins to crack as their forbidden romance threatens both their souls. And a modernized celestial bureaucracy where collecting souls is just another corporate job. This is a slow burn love story that challenges Death's own rules about second chances and proves that sometimes the biggest risk isn't dying, but finally learning how to live. I don't think you can guess it. It's not from my demon, is it? There's going to be some crossover, but that is not going to be my demon. There is a my demon crossover though. I don't
Would
know
I
what
know
this.
this?
You do know this. I did actually talk about the fact that I was going to do this when we were talking about SOSs before. You just don't listen to me because I am your middle child.
I said I was going to do Tay Song when we talked about it before.
I
Megan
didn't remember.
Yeah.
I haven't really watched enough of that. Okay, so my hero is controversial because are they a second lead? Yes. Are they also a villain? Yes. I am doing Yoo Eun-sung from what is it? The Queen's Tears.
Oh,
Queen of Tears.
Queen of Tears. Sorry, Queen of Tears. So my favorite baby who gets murdered for being a baddie. I am giving him his true love story.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
All
That
right,
works.
so Death's assistant opens with Yoo Eun-sung's violent death, shot by police after attempting to murder his unrequited love. Look, he's got some boo-boos, okay?
Oh, wait, sorry. So this is played by Park Sung-hoon.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, that makes it perfect.
Wait, did you watch Queen of Tears, Megan? No.
I didn't, but obviously I know who Park Sung-hoon is.
Okay, so he is, just as some context, he is
please.
the baddie toxic chaebol who is obsessed with the heroine. And so here's the thing is I loved him the best in this drama because I think they did him dirty. And Megan or Amy, you can fill in on this. But essentially he met the heroine when he was really young and he was in an orphanage because his mom basically abandoned him so she could like live out her like
play like a 20-year con.
Yeah, play like a 20-year con to like take advantage and take power in this family. So she abandoned her son to this orphanage where he met the heroine at a very young age and like formed like a fixation, like love on her.
But like upper elementary, like he wasn't like a tiny little kid when mom's just like, see ya. Like he was very aware of
Yeah. And so
happening.
He wasn't a terrible person, I think, born, but his mom basically just like rejected him and forced him into roles forever. And yes, we all make our own choices, but I would say he had a very toxic upbringing.
Yeah.
Right. Where he just decided that in a culmination of things in this drama, amnesia features heavily, and he takes advantage of amnesia to try to present himself as like the person she's always loved. He was toxic. He had unhealthy love patterns. Okay.
It was like my most hated part of the drama too, was the whole amnesia part.
Yeah. And so he would just be like, it was me you loved all along, like cutting out the hero, and then in the end, it's kind of like, if I can't have you, nobody's going to have you kind of vibes. Like, I mean, just very toxic.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to start with him dying of his own toxicity. So Death's assistant opens with Yoon Sung's violent death, shot by police after attempting to murder his unrequited love. As his soul waits for processing in the celestial realm's modernized reception area, he witnesses some chaos as yet another personal assistant dramatically quits their position. So this is where I'm going to have a crossover to my demon, where Guwon is going to approach Eun-sung with an unprecedented offer. He can become the next personal assistant to legendary Grim Reaper Jung Ha-nul, and if he can last 1 year, he gets a second chance at life. But the catch is that Ha-nul, dubbed the Reaper of Resignation, has burned through 278 assistants in her 800-year career. So she has an Arctic demeanor, impossible standards, and mechanical precision. And she's the most efficient and dreaded Reaper in centuries. But there's a darker reason behind her astronomical turnover rate. Each assistant serves as a living anchor who absorbs the emotional trauma of the soul collection that would otherwise overwhelm her perfect record. So essentially, when she's harvesting souls, rather than her taking on the trauma, she transfers it to her assistants who burn out very quickly. Because, people don't want to die. So like, rather than her feeling the feelings, she has the assistant feeling the feelings. So she can kind of live without that.
Yeah.
Their inevitable burnout is not just expected. It's also very necessary to her survival. Because if she ever slacks in her collection rate, she faces internal imprisonment in the shadow realm, where Reapers who've lost their edge are condemned to experience death's agony for eternity. So essentially, like, people burn out as Reapers pretty quickly, but she's come up with this system to like basically make her assistants feel the pain so that she doesn't burn out and get kind of like condemned into like this like aftermath of torture. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So when forced to accept Eun-sung as assistant 279, she coldly informs him that she gives him a week at most. the average time it takes for an assistant to crack under the weight of accumulated grief that she suddenly transfers to them. But where others saw an ice queen, Eun-sung sees something different in Han-woo's eyes. It's a pain that mirrors his own tortured soul. And his chaebol background proves surprisingly useful in navigating celestial politics. And his understanding of human desperation smooths over her brutal collections. But most dangerously of all, his unusual resilience to her emotional offloading starts to melt centuries of carefully maintained frost around her heart. So their dynamic is not lost on the afterlife's gossip mill. For the first time in 800 years, the infamous Reaper of Resignation is starting to show feelings of something other than contempt. And as their professional relationship kind of like ignites with unspoken attraction, a truth emerges. Han-woo was once the department's most passionate Reaper, until a mortal's betrayal not only shattered her heart, but nearly cost her her position and her like eternal soul. So now her perfect system is at risk of falling apart. Her split-second timing falters when Eun-sung's hand brushes against hers during paperwork. And souls that once saw only her cold efficiency now glimpse moments of empathy when she's harvesting them. And her collection rate, once precise, begins to slip, first by a percentage point, then 2, and then 5. And each moment of hesitation, each feeling of humanity brings her closer to this shadow realm. The Chief Grim Reaper, though, sees their connection as a threat to the natural order of things. So Han-woo faces an impossible choice. She can maintain her perfect efficiency by destroying her assistant's soul, or risk everything, including her very existence, for a chance to feel again. He gives the ultimate ultimatum. Either Han-woo terminates Eun-sung's contract and sends him off to like death's eternal slumber, or together they can both face the Shadow Realm's torments. But there's a secret twist that not even the Chief Reaper knows. Eun-sung discovers that there is a forbidden option when going through the celestial archives. And he realizes he can take Han-woo's entire burden of 8 centuries of suppressed grief into himself, saving her from the Shadow Realm, but condemning himself to an eternity of agony, which he thinks he deserves to because he was a pretty bad guy. So the question then that we leave with is, what's the greatest torture? The eternity of feeling everything or an eternity of feeling nothing at all?
Ooh,
Damn.
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you. I didn't realize I wanted to go with a Grim Reaper, but I thought I really wanted to do Eun-sung. I had an idea that I could like have him do some sort of like a loop and come back alive in time. But then I was like, oh, let's do paranormal. But then I'm like, if we're in the afterlife, we got to bring my demon into it and have
That's hilarious. I love that you brought Guan
the
in.
demon give a choice.
That's what threw me off. So that's what threw me off, is that I was like, what did you watch recently that was paranormal? I think
Right.
that's what I was like. So what is who's the actress that would play the heroine? Is she in My Demon, or do you have a different actress in mind?
I just made this person up.
Oh, okay. I know this is putting you on the spot, but do you have an actress in mind who could play?
Yes. Just give me 1 second because I'm having an absolute brain. I know who this person is so well.
Yeah, go ahead.
My brain just like completely turned it off. There's only one person who can play this. It's Kim Ji-won, of course.
Oh my God.
Yes.
She would
100%.
be incredible. Should be incredible.
But I just like the idea that like you.
But that's the same person who played the woman that he
The
wanted
woman that
in
he
Queen of
tried to
Tears.
kill or whatever. It's okay. Kim Ji-won's amazing. She can do it.
That actually would make it even like more fucked up, right?
Yeah.
If she had the face of the woman that he loved.
Yeah.
Yes. The woman that he loved and was toxic out to. I didn't even realize how smart I was making that connection here. I was like so tired and out of it. Of course, she's like the heroine of Queen of Tears, but she would be very, very good at this.
She could be like an ancestor
Yeah. We always
of the heroine of Queen of Tears.
Yeah, it's perfect. Honestly,
We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
It makes it so much better having her have the face of the woman that he like lost
That's torture.
And torture.
That's torture.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of like the transference, because I was thinking if you're going to be a Grim Reaper, like people aren't happy to see you, right? And I know that we've done like Lee Dong-wook and other people who kind of show up and take people to the tea room and move on. And people kind of mostly were just kind of like handling it fairly reasonably. But I was like, I like the idea of people like are very, I mean, sometimes you're going to.
It's traumatic.
Well, a lot of times, yeah, people are going to have like regrets. They're going to have hard things. So I like the idea of like, I got to keep my production rate up to save myself. So the person I'm with who's like handling all like my like paperwork and data and like my executive assistant, like let them feel all the shit. Like that's
really great. I love it.
Old bitch
Yeah.
move to-
That's super creative. I didn't think of anything like that. I want the whole drama now.
So yeah, that's what I went with. And then I was like, I almost was going to bring him back as a bodyguard, and I was like, I don't feel like that's a good move. I think I gave the bodyguard for a different day.
We're
right.
always trying to get in a bodyguard.
Every time. All right.
Always. Okay, so I am going to do. I'm not like keeping this a surprise because I didn't set it up that way. So I am doing, I guess you would call them like maybe the third leads from My Sweet Mobster. In My Sweet Mobster, you had the main leads, you had this like second lead couple, and then in my opinion, this who I'm doing had the potential to be a third lead couple. So I think this is the first time on Second Lead SOS I'm actually doing like two characters from the same drama, but then actually giving them their HEA. So it is Moon Dong Hyuk. He plays Yang Han Ki, and Saw So Rin plays Kang Yena. So let me give a My Sweet Mobster recap, which is needed because you need to understand who these two characters are because they do have backstory within the My Sweet Mobster universe. So Ji-won, played by Tae-gu, is a former mobster turned owner of Thirsty Deer, a meat production company, or however you say it. All I know is he prepares animal products to be sold as food. Okay, I guess it's a meat production company. And Go Eun-ha, played by Han Sun-hwa, is a children's content producer. The two, of course, have a connection from childhood, but they don't recognize each other now that they are adults. Or do they? Eun-ha, through a series of events, ends up living in Ji-hwan's house with his merry band of Thirsty Deer brothers, who are all former and reformed mobsters. This little crew turned out to be my favorite part of the drama, other than, the main romance. And Yang Han Ki, played by Moon Dong Hyuk, was one of my favorites. So Han Ki is who I would consider kind of Ji-won's third in command, behind the very tall and sexy Ju Il-young, who did get a romance. So if you watch My Sweet Mobster, Han Ki is the one with like the rain or shine Junho haircut. It's, curly and permed and a little orange. He's very charming, outgoing, funny, maybe a little snake oil salesman-y, but like that's part of his charm,
It is.
I can't remember what his job title was for Ji-hwan, but I believe it was like something to do with marketing. During one scene in My Sweet Mobster, he tells the heroine that he was a very cute kid and that his dad used to take him around their town with him while he sold scammy-like goods. So, he didn't have a great role model, but it gets worse.
What goods?
Like scammy type stuff.
Okay.
Like they always bring up like the jade mats and that kind of thing. Yeah. So when his dad got into debt with mobsters, because, something about like he also failed in investments, his dad just wasn't that great. So when his dad got into debt with mobsters, he sold Han Ki to the mob. That's canon. That is in the show.
Yes, it is.
Where he's like, oh, you know what? I'm in debt. Here, you can have my kid in your mob. There you go. Done. I'm going to leave now and go sell more jade mats. So Han Ki obviously was pretty depressed and wanted to end his life. But Ji-hwan, who was the mobster leader's son, paid Han Ki's debts and told him that he must live. So Han Ki is very loyal to Ji-hwan since he saved his life, which is a theme for Ji-hwan, which we'll learn. Okay, and now we're getting to Kang Yena. So she is a very popular children's content creator. What she touches sells, including the Thirsty Deer sausages that she cannot eat due to a meat allergy. During My Sweet Mobster, she aggressively pursues Ji-hwan because he paid off her debts years ago as well. And in her mind, she's definitely the main character. Like, she's the main character, and her and Ji-hwan are soulmates because of their past connection. But what she doesn't know is that Ji-hwan has an even earlier connection with Eun-ha, It's like a competition of early acquaintances that feels very, very K-drama, but Eunha wins. So once Yana realizes that she has no chance at a romantic relationship with Ji-hwan, she still works with Eunha to help promote Thirsty Deer to her followers. Like, Yana doesn't become like a supervillain. She actually like really comes through, and she's kind of like a part of the crew then towards the end. So she has worked very hard to be the top content creator for children, and she can be a little cold, but she always showed a lot of vulnerability and some loneliness in My Sweet Mobster. Her and Hong Ki in My Sweet Mobster have several scenes together, and one thing that stood out to me was that they both seem to like drop their acts around one another, like their fronts. So Hong Ki always has this like mask of like charm and humor and a little self-deprecation, and Yana is like very haughty and cold and keeps everyone at an arm's length for sure. But around each other, they seem to like relax and be honest. Around Yana was when Hong Ki seemed like he could truly rise to a romance hero level. Like all during My Sweet Mobster, I was like, oh, he's definitely like cast level. Do you know what I mean? Like he's just a part of the cast. But once he had those scenes alone with Yana, I was like, no. He could be main romance material. And I would say the same for Yana. It seemed like she could finally open up to someone who understands her for herself and not the famous Yana. She always seemed to kind of drop that like famous act around him because he just was not falling for it. So while there is a tease to a blossoming friendship between them in My Sweet Mobster, that's really all we get. And I'm convinced they would give us a great romance. So I wrote kind of a blurb. I didn't write like the full story. I kind of wrote similar to what you guys did. So let's get to it. Kang Yana is at the top of her game as a popular children's content creator. Kids beg their parents to buy the latest toys she features on her channel. They crave the food she feasts on. A word from her is the dream of every company who produces products aimed at kids. Whatever she touches turns to gold until it doesn't. Kang Yana has always been very careful and controlled about her image. She knows what it's like to be down and out. Years ago, before she ever had a YouTube channel, she inherited an insurmountable debt, and the only way she could get out from under it was from the charity of a not very good at being bad mobster. But her past hasn't stayed dead. A relative has surfaced claiming to be a brother of Yana's, and he says he's responsible for the start of her career. Since working for Thirsty Deer to help promote their sausages, she has stayed in touch with Hong Ki, as her contract with the meat company is still active. While having lunch with Hong Ki, the news of this relative breaks. The press is immediately bad for her, as the relative is claiming many falsehoods about Yana and is convincing as a brother who's been tossed aside. He says he has proof they are related. The media finds Yana while she's out to lunch with Hong Ki, and as the reporters close in, she panics, grabs Hong Ki, and says that the relative is making it up. She knows where her real brother is, and they've only recently reconnected. He's living with her now, and in fact, he's right there beside her. Hong Ki is her brother. I wrote this in the car at my son's soccer practice, and look, I'm proud of it. Okay, Hong Ki recovers from his shock quickly. He's always ready to play a part. He's been doing it since he was a kid. He promised himself he was done scamming, but this is for Yana. He has been hiding feelings for her for a while. Would he have liked to role play as her boyfriend instead? Sure, but a brother is close-ish. As the reporters follow them, she drags him all the way to her home, to her lavish apartment, where everything is in its perfect place. Yana, terrified of watching all she's worked for crumble because of some guy looking for a quick buck, begs Hong Ki to play along. He will have to live with her, but she will give him a separate bedroom on another floor. All he has to do is play the role of her brother until all this blows over. Hong Ki, always want something out of everything, asks for the use of her maid and private chef. She rolls her eyes and agrees. Hong Ki flops on her couch and settles in. But Yana doesn't have time for a nap. This is a crisis. If Hong Ki is going to be her brother, then he's going to be the best brother to ever live. He has to look like her brother, which includes a makeover, hair, and clothes, because I, the writer, am always going to get a makeover scene in anything.
Love it.
They changed his last name so no one can tie him back to his ex-con past, because remember, he's been in jail. He's a whole new honky, although secretly, Yana misses his old, loud gangster clothes. Because he really always wore the weirdest mismatched shit. He was just a mess. Since they supposedly grew up together, they have to study each other. And soon Yana, despite wanting to keep her distance, gets to know more and more about Honky. From his childhood selling jade mats on the streets to his father selling him out. And Honky respects Yana for all she's become on her own. Slowly, their feelings start to change. From friends to fake siblings to more. Their bedrooms are separate, but they find themselves spending more and more time together at night on the couch. And falling
I love incest light.
What? Yeah, it's and falling asleep together after watching movies because neither wants to separate. But in public, they can't be making hard eyes at each other. They're siblings, even though they very much don't feel like that anymore. But the man who originally claimed to be her brother isn't going away. He never actually wanted money from her. He wanted to meet her because he's obsessed with her after watching her YouTube videos on repeat. And again, I need a stalker plotline, as I always do. So, yeah, his obsession has turned to full-on stalker levels. One night, the man breaks into her apartment, but Honky is there to defend her. He shoves the man off her second floor, and he's severely injured when he lands. The stalker, not Honky. When the police show up, they take Honky, the intruder, and Yana into custody to get all their stories. You know, just got to make sure they do good detective work. And that's when the truth about Honky comes out. He's Kong Honky from Thirsty Deer, ex-con, and very much not Yana's brother. Honky is ashamed for bringing more shame onto Yana. He's worried about her career. But Yana is not having it at all. She's done with the lies and the scams, and she won't see Honky suffer because of her lies, her scheme. She's going to stand up for herself, for her man, and for her career.
Yes.
I love it so much.
Love.
I love fake siblings.
Right? I was like, you know what? I haven't done anything in an SOS. I don't think about a fake sibling. And how fun is that?
Didn't I say that's how I wanted to sell her on No Gay, No Love?
Yeah, that's actually how we want to sell you on No Gain, No Love, Leah, because she basically the romantic lead is her
former foster brother.
Former foster brother. I know it's not close enough, folks. They didn't really know each other.
No.
But I do love I wanted them to have like a relationship of convenience, this like SOS. And I was like, no, wouldn't it be fun if they had to because being told, oh, you can't look like you're attracted to each other.
Right. No, that's fun. That's super fun. To have to pretend you're brother and sister.
To pretend you're brother and sister. Yeah. I watched a little bit of Sweet Mobster today because I wanted to remember Honky's like background because I knew at one point he was in a spa with Unha and he was like telling her about his childhood. And I remembered that scene. So I went back and like rewatched it today. And that's when he talks about his dad. But it just reminded me how freaking cute he is. Like he's so
cute
adorable.
And he's so rain or shine. I love it so much.
Very much rain or shine Junho hair. And I love him. And the way he acts with Yana in the drama is so different from how he reacts to like anyone else.
Yep. When he goes and saves her from herself from looking drunk on social media. Yeah. I love that scene.
And Unha is like, she treats him like a little brother, but Yana doesn't. I don't know. I love them. I just felt like they teased us.
They did. And then they took it away.
It was just a tease. And I thought that was really blue balls of them. So anyway.
And it was fun to just go back to that world too. I miss that world.
Yeah, it's fun to go back. And I loved my Sweet Mobster.
Such a good drama.
I do wish we could just get like multiple universes, or multiple stories within that universe because it was really, really good. Like, give me like romance with all the crew, like the chef guy. Just like give it all to me. I would watch it. I did see that Taegu is in a drama coming up called. I think it's kind of like it. I don't think he's like he's not starring in it. Light Shop. Okay, if you Google Light Shop, you're going to get like actual light shops. Yeah, Light Shop here. A man runs a small light shop. Well, there you go. His store seems ordinary, but the light shop is different. The store is visited by dead spirits, some who are between life and death, and they have their own stories. Well, that sounds pretty cool.
It does.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be, I was like, wait a minute. Is this like, oh my God, what was the one called with Lee Dong-wook? The shop for killers.
Shop for Killers.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Why are we getting all these shops? But that sounds pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, that was fun.
I really liked it. And I just feel like hire us.
I know, right?
I know. We would be so good writing for TV.
God, we'd be amazing, right?
We really would.
I think that a lot. And I just love the setup of K-dramas so much.
So this is interesting because I feel like I can be by myself and I can work alone and I am okay with it. But because I think I am extroverted at heart, I do prefer, I would love to write in like a TV room type setting, like where it's like, we've got the whiteboard, everyone's together.
Yes.
Up with ideas.
Brainstorming is the most fun.
Like the collaborative part is actually what I agree. Like, remember, what was the podcast episode we did recently where we completely
where we wrote the bodyguard wrote the bodyguard drama. Yeah.
We did the bodyguard second chance at romance. Like, that's what I want to do all the time.
It's super fun. It really is. It's very energizing. And I love, like, we did it more when we were in our earlier writing days, like having like brainstorming sessions with each other and getting to bounce ideas off each other. We don't get to do that as much anymore. And I miss it.
I know, me too. Well, I don't even know how many SOSs we've done now. This might be the 5th, 4th, something.
Which doesn't seem like that much in almost 4 years.
Yeah, they're always fun.
Well, we want to hear from you all, listeners. Who do you think deserves an SOS that hasn't gotten one yet? Because we can put those names on our list for possibly next time. But until next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you soon.
Annyeong.
Kamsahamnida. Thank you for listening to Afternoona Delight. Where can you find us outside the pod? Head on over to afternoonadelight.com. That's AFTERNOONADELIGHT.com. You'll find links to all our social media, our book recs, K-pop and K-skincare recs, and if you want even more Afternoona Delight, because really who doesn't, you can join our Patreon, where you can choose the patron level that's right for you. Join in daily K-drama conversations, listen to bonus podcast episodes just for patrons, and participate in our monthly live K-drama support group via Zoom. We can't wait for you to be a part of the community. Until next time, annyeong!